W's and L's, a weekly recap show where we give a dub to the things that we like and an L to the things that we don't. Let's get started with these dubs. This first one should be quick. I'm giving a dub to the fact that hip hop has turned 50, and seems like it's celebrated, all over the place. There is a certain culture that I don't even think is even aware that hip hop has turned 50 that seemingly sprouted into the culture as of recently.
You mean the same culture that ranked Ice Spice as the top 10 rapper of all time? Or top 50 rapper of all time?
Yeah.
The 50th best rapper of all time?
Just as a whole, I just think white people aren't aware and don't care that hip-hop just turned 50.
Do white people want Complex? That's not a black thing? Complex is not a black thing? No. Cool.
It is, but no.
No.
I think it's black and Hispanic, but it's neither here nor there. They are a publication now probably owned by a huge white
corporation.
Yeah. So no. Anyway, hip hop turned 50. I'm seeing Dougie Fresh hit the Dougie on stage and crazy things like Melle dissing Eminem. It's Melle Mel. Dissing Eminem randomly. But other than
that it was hella random, bruh. No disrespect to Melle Mel, but the bars were trash. No disrespect. It's like, bro, ain't no way it's 2023 and you ain't adapted you haven't adapted a 90s melodic flow. You haven't gotten an upbeat, almost techno kind of early 2000s flow. You ain't fucking with no auto-tune. You ain't adapted to drill or nothing. You still, I park my car today, and then my waves get laid, and then I go to pay. Sucker, say your name.
Yeah.
For real?
He old, man. He not connected.
But it's been 40 years.
It has.
You ain't done nothing different in 4 decades? Cause it's basketball when Mr. Curtis blow.
Yeah, that was probably an L out of that whole situation.
Imagine if Michael Jackson would have never made it out of his Jackson 5 group kind of a cappella form of speaking or singing, right? Yeah. Or like the what did they had not a brass band but a rock band. Behind him, bass guitar and rock guitar and drums. What if he couldn't ever get out of that setup and transition into a modern day studio setup? What would Michael Jackson be? And it's just weird because that's one of the pioneers. You one of the reasons.
Yeah. Couldn't quite do it for Eminem though.
Yikes.
It is what it is.
Yeah, there's no requirement to respond therein. No requirement.
Another dub for hip hop. I don't think anybody has done an interview this week with Homegirl, so
good.
It's a nice little dub for hip hop this week.
Good.
Just had to throw that pop shot out there. All right, my last dub is one that I think will make our squad homies a good amount of money if they play their cards right. So there was one gentleman, I don't know his name or anything like that, who had the genius idea of how he could make money at Home Depot. So basically, he would go into Home Depot. He would go into the door section where they have doors and stuff like that. And he would take one of the doors off the shelf. Now, I don't know how much doors are worth. I'm not usually going to price check doors. But he would take this door, go up to the front, see the customer service person, and he would tell them that he's looking to return this door that he just picked up from the back. And for whatever reason, he didn't have a receipt. Home Depot was letting him do it.
Oh, that's golden.
Home Depot was letting him do it.
That is golden.
And if they didn't let him do it, he would just walk out the front door with the door. I haven't even gotten to the best part. He did this so many times, he accumulated $300,000 from doing that.
Because he was probably jugging the doors on the back end that he took home.
$300,000.
And man, I swear to God, boy, if some of these dudes or some of these people would put this into creating an online business or something that can earn perpetual income, they'd be millionaires, boy.
Yes.
It just all comes to light when it's in a criminal, a criminal aspect. You just understand it differently for some reason.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Like, oh, I can do this shit.
Let's see. Okay. So if the return was denied, he would take the doors without paying and return them at another store. The defendant was given about 370 fraudulent store credits between June 2021 and February 2022.
We just walked in, pick up so much for loss prevention. I'm gonna pick up a door, beeline for customer service, and try to return it.
He was doing this in multiple stores in multiple states. So Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, for $300,000, I'd do that shit too.
Oh, okay. I see. He would then costa-mota, I guess is his last name. Alexandre Enrique Costa-mota. That's a hell of a name. Dressed to appear like a contractor and entered the stores empty-handed, prosecutors allege in court documents. He would then load a door or several doors worth hundreds of dollars each onto a lumber cart, take them to the service department, and return them without a receipt. Okay. And then if he couldn't return them for whatever reason, he would just take them to another store and return it there.
You sure you're not going to take it back? All right, I guess I'll see if somebody else will take it.
Genius. Just apply that genius elsewhere. So you don't
somewhere else, anywhere else.
So you don't have to get caught. On to my L's. So we talk about Joe Budden and the Joe Budden podcast here quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Some would probably say that they are at some level an inspiration to what it is that we do here. It was
one of the only pods I was watching at the time we started this.
Yeah. When we initially started watching the Joe Budden podcast, there was Joe, Rory, Mal, Parks. Simple.
And Parks.
Very simple casting. And then what happened? Joe Budden got into a huge fight with Rory that spilled over into Mal. And now Rory and Mal have their own podcast. And Joe has since then created 2 new casts, technically. He had a new cast with Ish and Ice and Parks. And now he added 2 more people. Updated. Now Joe is fighting with Ish.
Oh, over what?
Over, I guess Joe at some point said that, like, if
I don't need your niggas, this is my shit, and y'all can walk whenever you want to.
Crazy. No. Joe said something on the show about not talking to one of his homeboys' exes. Like, oh yeah, if my homeboy ex came over, I wouldn't even do anything. Ish called bullshit and said, yeah, like one of my girls was over at your house at one point and y'all were smoking hookah. So he just simply called bullshit on it. And then it became this huge blowout and they didn't even continue on. I guess Queens Flip had to like host the rest of that show.
Oh, they just dipped?
And then I guess the next episode they had to come back and try to explain it and they started kind of arguing again or some shit. And it's just like, bro, working with Joe Budden ends up this way.
Hey, man, it is, you know how they be like, they tell women sometimes, however you got them is how you gonna lose them. I mean, how is that not how you looked at this situation if you're Queens Flip, if you're Melissa Ford, if you're Ice or Ish? How do you not look at it like that? Yeah. Because regardless of the amount of influence or eyeballs Joe Budden and his name and his reputation in the industry were able to bring that podcast, if you were watching the podcast, the content, the platform, the show was built up equally by the 3 people that were on camera. Mm-hmm. And, the princess in the background. But it was a equal thing. There was no, oh, what are we doing today, Joe, on your show? Oh, hell, hey, Joe, What do you want us to do today on your podcast? That's just never how it was. And again, the argument can be made that it maybe wouldn't have even gotten that popular without Joe. That's all well and good. I know for sure as hell it wouldn't have lasted as long as it did if it was a solo pod. He's not Joe Rogan.
Sure.
He's not Joe Rogan. I think the fact that he replaced Rory and Mal at all lets you know that he can't do this shit by himself.
Yeah.
Not a very good monologue speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So even in that, right, how do y'all look at this situation and how y'all got here and not be worried about how you may leave one day?
That's got to be like one of the first things in your head, I feel like. Like, oh yeah, like
he told these niggas he knows Rory's parents, he knows his family in general, he knows his wife and kids. And yet he has no problem with ushering Rory's ass out the door at a moment's notice when he feels like it ain't working no more. So what do you think he's gonna do with the YouTube prankster, with the social media prankster guy, the guy who gets his shirt or rips people's shirt or gets his shirt ripped off in public for views? What do you think he's gonna do with that, Melissa? I hate to say it, but if he's ever able to get a younger version of you, you don't think he would replace you? Like, honestly, what is his loyalty to y'all that he didn't already have with Rory and Mal?
That's a fact. That is a fact.
If you was willing to act like that to some of your partners, you'll be willing to act like that to all of them.
I feel like if you're going to work with him, kind of to what you pointed out, you kind of got to have an expiration date in your head. Like, sure. Oh, I'm going to do this for a year, and then I'm moving on to other things afterwards. Yeah. But you never know. They've been there for a couple years now, at least Ice and Ish. So yeah, we'll see what happens with them. All right, my next L is going to rapper and apparently music executive, according to this headline, Yo Gotti.
Is Glorilla not his artist?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
And
what's Glorilla, Moneybagg Yo.
The dude he disappeared. I don't know where the fuck he went.
JB?
No.
42 Doug?
No. Are all of those his artists?
Oh, yes.
Damn.
Black Youngster.
Yes. Where the fuck he been at?
I really don't know. I don't know if he's in
whore.
Is he in jail?
Whore.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually wondered that myself, but I didn't find an answer.
Boy, it fell off the map.
But Yo Gotti has been up on his Jesus Christ. Yo Gotti's been up on his buy back the block shit. Just heavy, apparently. However, he almost lost 15 different homes. You want to know why he almost lost 15 homes? Foreclosure. This man thought that because you pay cash for a house, that you don't have to pay for property taxes.
Come on, man. Come on, Gotti. Or maybe it's a thing of like somebody was supposed to be paying them taxes and it went to their pocket. Because that's also...
That would even be worse because now you have a person who's in your business, literally.
No. I would much rather have that than not understanding that I have to pay property tax. See, I can have criminal prosecution brought about him and then I can seek my damages. Right? And that does absolutely nothing to my reputation effectively.
Sure.
Being a real estate mogul and not knowing that you have to pay property taxes is pretty bad. So
that's true too.
I would much rather it be that somebody was stealing from him and then that was supposed to be paid than property tax. Property tax? Property tax. What's a property tax? I do music. I do music. Talking about no property tax. Do music over here in Memphis.
Well, I mean, if you have a snake in the grass, you gotta find that snake. Whereas
it ain't gonna be hard to find. There's only one person who should have, or one, maybe two people who should have that power to pay your property taxes. Clear
house on that side of
it's gonna be your power of attorney, or maybe your accountant. If you like empower them to do that, your financial advisor. But it ain't gonna be no normal motherfucker. Like his auntie ain't paying the property taxes.
Sure.
I would hope not.
Maybe that's how he got into the situation.
Holy shit.
I mean, but then in this situation, I probably wouldn't even told anybody. Took the L on my silent and then just paid the property tax here. We're all good.
He may not have on 15 properties for an undetermined amount of time for as long as he's owned the properties. May not have it. That could be millions of dollars.
That could be. No, you're right. depending on
or
where
at least hundreds
these
of
are,
thousands. Maybe. Well, we have no idea how large the properties are, how much they
and
cost.
how long he hasn't been
Paying them.
property
Yeah,
taxes.
we have no idea how much money
And
that
it's
is.
15 homes. Yeah, I mean that's.
And then even if like let's say it's like 15 or maybe less than that. Let's say it's like $5 million in total. That's still not something that you want to just go ahead and shell out front.
Sure.
No. Let's negotiate this. Can we work out some kind of payment plan? Can we settle for something less? I ain't just taking the $5 million because you say that's what I owe.
Right. All right. Last L going into your dubs and L's. Tory Lanez caught 10 of them things. I gotta be honest.
Good there, Bucko.
Going into the situation, I would not have expected him to be handed down a sentence of 10 years.
And then also, he might get deported. So how does that work? He gets deported from the U.S. and he serves his sentence in Canada, or he doesn't serve a prison sentence if he gets deported?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because it was weird. He got all of those character witness notes, right, from a lot of people across the industry.
Yeah.
Mario, like a lot of people wrote for his defense. But then it seemed like they were trying to have him not deported. So it doesn't mean like after his 10-year sentence, he's going to get kicked out of America forever. Maybe that's what it means. Like maybe just let him serve his time, maybe get out good behavior, and then he doesn't have to leave the country.
He's already served the better part of a year, and they're making that part of.
He been in jail this whole time. He ain't been out on bond. What? Oh yeah, so he's definitely getting time served.
It was like 306 days or something like that.
He's getting time served. Okay, so 9-ish years.
Yeah.
And he'll probably get some off if he sit down and he don't, he'll probably PC up.
I just didn't see 10 years as a whole. It all makes sense, but
I think when they gave Kelsey immunity, they were trying to hammer it to him. They were trying to give it to him.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of what was expected. Like when we were at the point in the case where we couldn't decide who shot the gun, but we know him and Kelsey was wrestling over it because they both had gunshot residue on them. She had the conclusive results in the gunshot residue test. Mm-hmm. His was inconclusive, which means there wasn't enough there. Which means to me, here's how I think it all played out. I think that Tory was paying old girl because they asked her on the stand and she said, I can't recall. That's horse shit. I think he was paying old girl to stay gone and not to show up. I think he was paying the driver to stay gone and not to show up. Right? Because if it went the way you said it went, it's just like Jonathan Majors, having those people there as witnesses is your ultimate protection. You wouldn't want them gone. So if you're paying them, it's probably because they had something bad to say. But then once the gunshot residue came back on Tory as inconclusive, they had to expand their inquiry. Mm-hmm. And that's where Kelsey came in. They probably found her, offered her immunity. And at that point, well, fuck your money. They're offering me never having risk of going to jail again. And I know damn well I had my hand on that gun.
Yeah.
I know damn well I had my hand on that gun when it went off. So I'm gonna cover my ass over filling my pockets.
Sure.
And I think that's how that played out. They offered her immunity. She testified against Tory Lanez. That kind of sealed the deal.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there shouldn't be any kind of back and forth between people who hate Tory now and people who are Tory stands or whatever. Like, I'm done with it. The decisions have been made, and unless some crazy evidence miraculously comes out, I don't care. Like,
hey, look, man,
what's done is done.
Listen, you like to think that the things you do when you're young don't matter, and you just live in life, and we not married, and this, that, and the third. The shit you do to people affects them, even if they don't like to tell you about it. And so when you at a party with a nigga you been dealing with, and now you in other niggas' faces because you found out that he been in your friend's face and y'all trying to get back at each other in the middle, that shit leads to disaster. Mm-hmm. And it's some of y'all that do that shit on a regular basis and y'all think it's cute and you think it's a loving part of your relationship, and it's not.
Yeah. And
it could lead to shit like this. It could lead to actual real life violence. Mm-hmm. And this is a man and woman thing. Stop playing around with people's emotions. And then at the end, the very tail end of that, there's just no scenario where you should be grabbing a weapon in the middle of a dispute with your partner, your person that you talking to, person you fucking, wife, husband, whoever. Mm-hmm. Nothing good is coming out of that situation.
Especially when everybody's drunk.
Nothing. Everybody been drinking and now you got a weapon. Fam, we're on the highway to hell.
Yep. Going 100. That's all I got.
All right, here we go. First dub I got is going out to the Black Avengers of Montgomery, Alabama. Big dub. The
Huge.
biggest dub of the summer.
Obviously contender for dub of the year.
For sure. For sure. Sent their asses back to the plantation. Ass out of here.
Ooh, the chair and everything.
The chair is an icon now, man. The chair has made it all the way to Detroit Urban Survival Techniques guy.
Yeah,
He's sharing people how to tell people how to defend with a fucking chair. Like, man, it's going nuts. It felt like a moment of unison of like of worldwide blackness.
Yep.
Cause you know what the black Aquaman didn't do when he swam his ass across that the little gully to get to that part of the harbor. You know what he didn't do? Hey, you ADOS or you FBA or you Pan Africanist? You one of them tellers? Show didn't do that shit. What you FBA? Nah, I'm Jamaican, cuz I'm Jamaican. Yikes. I can't. Show did you a pet? Oh, you one of them black Native Americans? Nah, cuz I ain't fucking with you.
Yikes.
You's a black Jew? No, I ain't messing with you. I can't help you. Beat him up.
You know what I thought you were gonna say? You know what he didn't do? Disappoint.
He sure they didn't disappoint. But
no, he did not.
Even still, didn't stop to ask his nationality or what his ancestry or where his people come from, any shit like that. He saw black and he reacted.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. Wouldn't y'all much rather have it be like that? I don't know where any of those people's background is from. They could all be from Montgomery, Alabama. Some of them could be black immigrants. Some of them could be FBA. I have no idea what their makeup is. But you know what? They squatted the fuck up when that man needed it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wouldn't y'all much rather have it like that than all of this shit that white people behind black avatars on white apps have us doing each and every other day? Arguing over who's blacker and who started this, who started that, whose culture is better, who's more affected by whiteness.
Afro-Latino is not a thing.
Fam, I was watching a Christmas movie. It was basically like the black version of This Christmas. Like literally, black version of This Christmas. John Leguizamo was in it.
Nothing like the holidays.
Yes, nothing like the holidays. Exactly what it was. So the dad owns a grocery store, right? Mm-hmm. Has a black dude who hangs out around. I guess he's just the town drunk. Very convenient. But he walks in and he starts talking. They get on the subject about being Puerto Rican. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican." He's like, "You can't be Puerto Rican." He said, "I am Puerto Rican. Puerto Ricans are black." No, that wasn't. Obviously, that was probably part of the humor. But then the dad responds back to him seriously. Puerto Ricans can't be black. They're Puerto Rican. Oh, God damn it. Let me throw in some bell. Maybe they meant he's not a black American if you're Puerto Rican.
Sure.
Which is also technically untrue because
Puerto Rico is American.
American. So. Like, God damn, it's brain rot. It's brain rot. It's got to be brain rot. Where your nationality negates your race. For everyone except for white people. White people are white wherever they go. They white wherever they go.
Facts.
Not even just white. Asian people, you're Asian wherever they go. Whether it's Filipino, Korean, Chinese, Japanese. But if you black and you from another country, you not black. you're whatever that country is. You're whatever your nationality is.
Yeah, you're British. You're, obviously whatever African country.
And
you're Jamaican.
Yeah. Very sad. Very sad. But yeah, just the collective unity we felt from that moment. There was no bickering. There was no like division. We wasn't fighting each other.
Fades were being handed everywhere.
Left and right. They will never, ever, ever, ever in their life gang up on a black person ever again. Ever. It will never happen. Maybe y'all saved a life. Today, it was just jumping one of the riverboat crew because they didn't want to move their dinghy for the fucking cruise liner. For the riverboat. Right? That's what it was today. What would it have been if they was out there alone? What if that man was working that pier by himself and the boat wasn't there?
Yeah.
And there were no employees around. And he was the only one. The man might have ended up at the bottom of the damn harbor.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly didn't give a shit about him. It was like 5-on-1.
Yep.
A little bit of advice I can give to the white woman with the Rudolph nose now. Next time, you stay your ass out the way. She wasn't even trying to fight. She wasn't even trying to fight at first. But neither one of them. They was trying to get him off of him. At that point, you need to move.
Yep.
I'm saying women in general. Never do that. Do not get in the middle.
Thrown into the water. That woman obviously got hit with the chair.
Well, the one who got thrown in the water, she's the one that hopped off the boat and was talking. She was trying to fight. I'm talking about there was 2 women initially in the frame when they started jumping on the black man that was just trying to pull them off. Mm-hmm. Like they was like, hey, yo, no, chill, y'all tripping, right? It wasn't until the group came that the one little girl got tossed in the damn water because she was trying to get active. She was, now you better not. I swear to God. That's why her nose looked like this now. That's why her shit looked like this.
Yeah.
But in general, it was like an older woman that I think was with them, maybe middle-aged, who was just getting dogged because she just so happened to be in the middle of that shit. Mm-hmm. You better move. Move. Get out of the way. If you couldn't stop this man from getting off this boat and cussing, what you should have did was tell him to move the fucking boat.
Yeah.
Move the fucking boat. Don't try to stop him from fighting now. He clearly wanted every last bit of this.
One part that I particularly enjoyed was, the hat was hilarious.
I was like, why do you even think to do that? I said.
That was the call, bro. No, the 2 white guys who came from the other end of it, who I think they were in the original ruckus, but
they were all family members. They was all one big family. They own a a grocery store chain down there in Alabama. So, privileged, rich white folks.
But 2 of the white guys had like disappeared under like a little part of the bridge or whatever. Like there's like a whole bridge, and then.
Oh, you mean when they start clapping their hands and they start walking towards them?
That was that part, the whole part, because you could see them walking up like they were about to do some shit, and then four black
and then
guys,
they turned around and start talking. I'm like, hey, yo,
turn around, and then one of the dudes got beat up. The other dude tried to leave him, and he got dragged back.
There were so many fight rules being violated at this point. First of all, y'all splitting up. Second of all, y'all trying to turn y'all back when you're being pursued.
No.
What time? I see why y'all faces look the way they do.
Yeah. And then I thought for sure bro with the chair was going to get some kind of felony. They're only giving him a misdemeanor.
Apparently he was defending somebody while he was doing that. The white dude who was jumping off of the boat and around and around. Now, how he only gets a simple assault for the woman who was sitting down on the ground, I don't get that. Because she wasn't doing shit but sitting there getting fucked up.
That was hilarious. And
he gave her a call. He was playing whack-a-mole.
As soon as he hit that, you can hear everybody go, oh!
Clank! Clank! Maybe they're arguing that since it was such a chaotic, he was just swinging. Like he was just hitting any white person he seen because he thought it was a race riot or some shit. That's what I would claim. I thought they was going to kill us, officer. We had to defend our lives.
Absolutely.
I seen them killing a black man on the side of the harbor. That's what I seen.
As far as I'm concerned, that man was getting lynched, and I just went into attack mode.
To save his life. right? To perform life-saving care. That's what I did.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, gonna be a short one, football related. So we talked a little bit in House Divided about, losing recruits and big fish hunting. Well, that sword cuts both ways. So the same weekend that we saw, Elias Rudolph flip from the University of Michigan. We're talking college football, folks, now, if you're wondering what we on. Goes from the University of Michigan to Miami. Earlier in this week, right after, last week, obviously missing out on Gatlin Bear, Ron Bellamy and the staff have adjusted their recruiting board and started going after committed guys the same way that teams are going after their committed guys,
Sure.
right? Josiah Edmond got signed right after Aaron Scott went to Ohio State, right? Josiah Edmond is a 3-star out of
Indiana.
I was close. Basically the same thing. Out of Indiana. Well, he just so happens to be teammates of 4-star committed receiver to the Georgia Bulldogs, Nitro Tuggle. Right? Nitro Tuggle ends up on Michigan's recruiting board, and that same week, I think this was on Thursday on the recruiting chat live for EJ Holland and On 3. Guess who was in the chat? Not only JoJo Edmond, but his teammate Nitro Tuggle. So look, man, if it works out like that, if we could lose an Elias Rudolph and come away with another high-end wide receiver prospect, that balances out for me. If we lose Elias Rudolph and we end up getting Brian Robinson, that works out for me as well. But it's just, I guess, kind of understanding that you're going to win some and lose some, and kind of being a little bit more patient. Like we are literally, we haven't even started the season yet. We still have to play an entire season of college football. And if you don't think that is going to change some guys' minds or play a factor, coaches are going to get fired. Teams are going to have underwhelming seasons. Things are going to change. Situations are going to change. The way that they look in the summer are not going to be the way that they look in December.
Oh, for sure.
So, we're in for a long run. On to my L's. I am giving one L out to James Gunn and Peter Safran for giving the most confusing reboot of a franchise you possibly could give. Like when we started this, we had this plan. It's sounding eerily similar to how the MCU went. Only the kind of hiccups that they've experienced has been accelerated, right? We had a plan. We had a vision. You know what you wanted to do outright. You gave us the first couple projects. You told us prospectively who was looking to be a holdover and who wasn't, right? For the most part. And then the movies start coming out, and none of it necessarily matches what you told us before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, we're not bringing back Henry Cavill, but then he was in Black Adam. Black Adam's changing the power hierarchy of DC, but then it's also not ever going to be followed up on again because now Peter Safran and James Gunn are officially president at DC. And then so the official jump off of James Gunn's DC universe is supposed to be Superman Legacy. Mm-hmm. And then Blue Beetle and Shazam and Aquaman all work well within that universe. And the Flash. They all work well. Oh, the Flash was the greatest ever. That was the greatest superhero movie ever. We had to purchase the copyrights to that name because it was so good. But all of this works really well in unison with the new stuff. But then Gal Gadot was in Shazam. Yep. Well, Gal Gadot's in Shazam. Gal Gadot is also now in talks to help pin a new Wonder Woman 3 without Patty Jenkins. It's going to be Safran and Gunn in combination with Gal Gadot to make that movie, apparently, maybe. But so then does that mean Shazam is going to be in the DCU as well?
Nah, no way.
You sure?
No. Because
we just had Batfleck in The Flash. Mm-hmm. We had Wonder Woman and Shazam. You tried to get Ben Affleck to help direct a Batman movie. Didn't work. And now Gal Gadot's coming back for Wonder Woman 3. Hey, Gunn, it really just seems a whole hell like Henry Cavill and The Rock came together and tried to do some shit, and now they're eating shit because of it.
Yep.
And to be quite honest with you, it's to the detriment of your plan.
Yep.
If I had to pick some guys to run with to keep going into the new DCU, Batfleck, Cavill, The Rock Johnson, yeah. Yep, that's what I'll do. You know what James Gunn says? Give me Gal Gadot, give me Zachary Levi, and give me Jason Momoa as a completely different character. That's what we going in, baby. And then who's going to be leading that whole thing? Whose face is going to be out and dead and center? The new face, the new Superman that
Corn
no
Sweat.
one knows. Corn Sweat. He's gonna be the glue that holds it all together eventually, because again, he's playing Superman.
Yep.
Offset by Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, Zachary Levi, Captain Marvel. Do you know they actually called him that in the movie?
No.
It's super subtle. Super subtle. It's sometime in the third act. He's like talking to pedestrians and they're like, yeah, Mr. Lightning or whatever. We love you. Duh, duh, duh. Yeah, Shazam. Somebody likes, we love you, Captain Marvel. I heard it clear as day. I was like, oh, they got balls. Yeah. They got balls.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, man, I just don't get it. I don't get what's staying, what's going.
It's a amalgamation of both of them.
Yes.
It's a Frankenstein of both of them.
Don't get it. The Island Boys are getting my second dub.
I'm an
second
island
L.
boy.
Second L. Not a dub. Absolutely not a dub.
Yeah, no. L, please.
The name sounds familiar, the Island Boys, they were the ones who were floating the idea that they were Jeffrey Epstein's kids a couple months ago. They've also just done a bunch of like crazy, outlandish shit for attention. They don't really have talent.
But they also made a smash hit in I'm an Island Boy.
It wasn't a smash hit. Yeah, but most recently they started like kissing each other on camera for views. Like it's an incest gag, I guess, or maybe not a gag.
Yep.
Because now they taking it to a whole nother level, and one of the brothers is going to suck the other brother's dick.
Oh, see, I didn't even hear that. I didn't hear that. I just heard that one of the brothers is gay.
One of the brothers is going to suck the other brother's dick on camera on OnlyFans.
They created this lane of
sickness.
We will do anything for
absolute
views. Pay attention
sickness.
To us.
Your blood brother. Okay.
Your twin brother.
That's all that needs to be said about that one. But yeah, that's what's being marketed there.
I wish I didn't know that.
Didn't want to go too much further than that, but someone else had to know.
And now all the squad homies.
Now all the squad homies know. If I had to know, all y'all had to know.
They didn't ask.
Ooh, this one's gonna hit home a little bit. I'm giving the L out to Tony Frost. Does that sound weird to you?
A little bit.
Sound strange? It should sound strange because it is Tony Stark with the last name Frost because he married Emma Frost and adopted her last name.
Yo.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't even seem like something Iron Man would do.
Yeah. Because you know what? If there's one thing that comic readers absolutely want, it is for one of the oldest, I'd say B+ tier characters to shed his last name and take the last name of some random wife he took because reasons.
Tony Stark loves himself too much to let any part of himself go like that. And I don't even read comics.
Took Emma Frost's name. Absolutely despicable. I don't know what we're doing right now.
Weird. I want no parts. I don't read the comics, but I want no parts anyway. Actually, you know what? I read the comics now. By way of editing.
By way of editing videos, you read comics? I don't think that's how it works.
I'm a certified comic book reader.
Oh, boy. Lizzo's getting an L from me. She is apparently out of the Super Bowl halftime consideration because of the allegations. I guess Jay-Z don't play that.
Well, unfortunately, I'm sure Jay-Z can find somebody else to do the Super Bowl halftime show. So
We don't do no fat shaming, nah. Okay. I kind of sped through those last two because I wanted to talk about this one a little bit, and I'm going to give a trigger warning because it is much more graphic than anything we have discussed on the Dubs and L's today so far.
more graphic than the Island Boys.
Yes.
Golly. Okay.
Yes,
all right. Let me
yes,
sit up
yes,
straight
yes,
for
yes.
this one. Jesus.
So there was a young couple in Atlanta, Georgia, who had an infant who passed away during childbirth.
Okay.
And so upon sending the body over to the funeral home to have it prepared for service, the person who received the body, not from the coroner's office, but directly from the hospital, which was the first red flag, he said, realized right away that the child's upper extremity had been removed from its lower extremities. Like, completely. Like, I'm trying to stay away from the word, but yes, it was removed from the rest. And so it comes to find out that the individuals at the hospital where, they delivered propped the baby up to make it look like it was still intact and that they had just passed of natural causes, packed it, and delivered it to the funeral home to try and avoid any type of persecution. They're saying now that the doctor that delivered the baby essentially separated it while delivering it.
Wow.
Yes. I hope that hospital doesn't exist when they're done with them.
I mean, absolutely.
I hope that hospital no longer exists when they're through with them. And it's one thing to talk about the type of health deficits that black women, face delivering babies in this country.
Yeah.
But then you aren't able to quantify it with facing the very real reality that those numbers are not manufactured. The discrepancies are there for a reason, and the reason is human. It's human bias. Because I don't know how, I'm sure we have a lot of parents in here. How much force, and I know that's very hard to imagine, and you probably don't even want to. I don't want to. But it was one of the first things I thought about how much you would have to be doing to make that happen.
Yeah.
To make that be a thing. To do that. Like, there's absolutely no concern at that point for the child or for the mother when you are applying that much force for removal. Now, I'm not a gynecologist, and I've never delivered a baby. I've just only been present to a few. And it's never a force out kind of thing. Even they've gone away from the suction machines mostly, right? But I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't even imagine. So that means that they gave this woman her baby and situated it in a way to conceal what actually happened to it in the immediate aftermath. I hope everyone that was in that room loses their license and is never able to practice medicine again. And anybody who had knowledge of it, I wish them the same. I hope that their family is now made to be the upper class snoots that they deserve to be off the backs of this hospital. Is what I wish for them, because it's absolutely despicable and unspeakable, unthinkable what happened to their child in Atlanta, Georgia, the blackest city in America. If you can't deliver a baby in Atlanta, Georgia, there's no place in this country where it's safe to deliver a baby. So health, a good diet while you're pregnant, things that lower your blood pressure, start taking your ACE inhibitors very early on to try to guard against preeclampsia. regular walks, compression socks for good circulation, right? Prenatals. Stay on that stuff, man. Because if it's one thing we don't need is more dead black babies.
Absolutely.
That's it for the Dubs and L's. Give us your thoughts in the comment prompt below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Come back next Wednesday for another Dubs and L's segment.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out our previous Dubs and L's where we discussed Jamie Foxx apologizing for his Instagram posts, which he should not have done.
Mm-mm.
And then make sure you check out our previous Dubs and L's. Jesus Christ. Make sure you subscribe because we like to do this, like he said, every Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
I don't think gynecologists deliver babies. I think that's an OBGYN. See, gynecologists just look at the coochie. The OBGYNs get all up in there. They get elbow deep.
Hey, yo, what is happening right now?